Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with the Ship With Me. These are all orders that came through over the weekend. It was a pretty slow week last week, like one of the slowest weeks I've had in a while. It did start to pick up over the weekend, more towards like Saturday night into Sunday. Some interesting sales, some cool vintage pieces. I can't wait to like share kind of like what I got them for, how long I had them for, what I got for them, really just kind of bring you into that part of my process. But before we get started here, if this is your first time here, if this is your first time stumbling on my channel, first and foremost, welcome. I am Julia, that is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and the business of reselling on the internet. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, it is Monday, it is late. I am running out of daylight, so we need to get these things packed up and off to the post office ASAP. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipment. Before we get into the shipments, I want to take a quick minute to thank the sponsor of this video, Vendoo. So you have heard me talk a lot about cross-listing here, like a lot, but in my opinion, if you are a reseller, it is the single best thing that you can do to help bolster your business. But listing on all these platforms and managing all of this manually is incredibly time-consuming and messy. Vendoo helps you cross-list to all of the platforms with just a few additional clicks. Platforms like Poshmark and eBay and Mercari and Depop and Whatnot and Vestiaire and Etsy and Shopify, and they just recently added Vinted US. Be on the lookout for Vinted to be making a big push in the US market. But their features go well above and beyond just cross-listing. They've got a bulk edit feature that allows you to make edits simultaneously to up to 240 listings at a time, all from one screen. So that is super helpful if you want to run a sale, or if we run into something like what just happened with eBay where they changed their conditions options. I was able to change all of my listings in just about 15 minutes, and with 800 listings or so, that literally saved me hours. And even when you're cross-listing, sending offers to likers is one of the best tools that you have in terms of closing the deal. Easily 50%, if not more like 60% of the sales that I make come as a result of an offer that I send. And with Vendoo, you can send offers to likers on all of your platforms, all from one screen. So easy. And if you prefer, you can even set it up where Vendoo sends automatic offers so they reach your buyers faster. Having this available for not only Poshmark, but also Mercari and Depop and eBay has been an absolute game changer for me. It gets those offers out in a timely fashion, and I don't even have to think about it. And that is such a treat for anybody who runs their own business and constantly has a million things running through their brain. Also, Vendoo is rolling out a new feature that will allow you to automate your Poshmark sharing, Depop refreshing, and Grailed bumping, all from inside the platform. Whether you are going to be a new user of Vendoo or you are a longtime user of Vendoo like I am, I will have a link down below to get your name on this wait list to be the first to get this new tool. I know I'm already on the list. So guys, you know I love Vendoo. I talk about them all the time. There is a reason I talk about them all the time. They're literally one of the cornerstones of my business. And if you are a reseller and you are looking to step up your game, or you've been intimidated about cross-listing, or you're just overwhelmed with all of the things you need to do to cross-list effectively on different platforms, I cannot recommend Vendoo enough. If you are interested in giving them a try, click the link down in the description box below and start saving your time, energy, and stress today. Now, back to the shipments. All right, so the first piece we have here, and I'm just gonna pull it out of the bag, is this adorable vintage raffia purse. It's made in Japan. I'm gonna guess probably 1970s. Super cute little like summer clutch. I think my mom actually found this one. Truth be told, I'm really bad at picking up purses. I pick up a few here and there. A lot of times when I do end up picking them up, they do sell fairly quickly and fairly well for me. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because it's like out of my workflow that I don't pick them up as frequently as I do clothing. They're also a little bit bulkier, and I do have a pretty limited storage situation, so that also comes into play. But I do love vintage purses. And to be totally honest, I really considered keeping this one. There's something to be said about like a summer clutch that's actually big enough for all your stuff. You know, they're just kind of hard to find. But this is super cute. This is something that can be easily used. There's no strap on it, it's pure clutch. So this can easily be used for like summer weddings, spring weddings. We're coming into that season, so not surprisingly, this moved fairly quickly. And I had a lot of interest on it. I think I had 2 or 3 offers on Depop that never came to fruition, and I had 2 or 3 people put in the offer on eBay and never completed payments. So I feel like I've had an uptick of that happening. Let me know if you are also having the same experience. I usually don't have much of a problem with that, but over the past month or so, I've had a lot of like just not completed sales through eBay. So I don't know what's going on, but let me know if you're having the same experience. Either way, I had this listed for just under 1 month. And I had it listed for $28 and I got an offer for $22, which I did accept with a roughly $1 cost. I think my mom got this at her bins location. This brought me to a profit of just about $18. So I hope she loves it. It is such a cute purse. And I'm kind of already having regrets about selling it. Next up is this great top from Patagonia. This is ultra lightweight cotton with a little bit of a ripstop to it, which is, you know, Patagonia's flavor. It's just a little button-down shirt with kind of roll tab sleeves. Again, I mean, light as a feather. This couldn't be any more airy. Like, it's so thin to the point where it's almost tough to like steam it. Like, this is the kind of thing that's gonna look great rumpled when you're wearing it. But I do like to have these things crisp when I'm shipping them, and when I can't get them perfectly crisp, it always drives me nuts. But either way, you know, Patagonia, obviously a very expensive brand. These kind of shirts from them do sell well for me. I don't find them all that often though. Some of the Patagonia pieces are getting a little saturated on the secondhand market. And like, for the most part, Patagonia, if you're getting it at the right price, is still always going to be a pretty good buy. It's so expensive retail, but I just urge you, I know it's a brand that a lot of thrift stores will jack up prices on if you do go to a thrift store that selectively raises prices. So just be sure, like especially with Patagonia right now, that you are doing comps, unless it's something that you know is like a slam dunk, or if it's like a great ski jacket that's Gore-Tex that you know you're gonna get $100, $200 for, you know, if you're looking at like better sweaters or whatever, these are getting a little saturated. So just make sure you're minding your costs and making sure that it fits into like the profit margin that you wanna hit with what you are able to source for. Very different beast if you're able to source for $1 or $2 at the bins than versus having to, you know, being at a regular thrift store where you're paying $10 or $15 for something that might not net you quite as much as it did a year or two ago. Always have to be kind of checking on those comps, and I try to stay on top of it, and of course I'll kind of raise the flag for you as much as I can, but just always, especially if you have something that you're noticing slowing down, take some time to check comps because things do ebb and flow. So anyway, I had this listed for just about a month and I had it listed for $32 and I got an offer for $25, which I did accept. And with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought me to a profit of $19.43. And I mean, for a lot of these more insignificant Patagonia pieces, the base layers, etc., stuff like this, that's about what you're gonna be getting for these. $20, $25, maybe $30, depending on what it is. So again, you know, just keep an eye on it. But I hope she loves it. I hope she gets some great hiking done in it. Next up is this gorgeous sweater from Saks Fifth Avenue. This is 100% merino wool, and it's just a super classic turtleneck. These kind of pieces are always pickups for me, these like classic staples. These are just things that are always gonna be in style, no matter what is happening in fashion. These are the great kind of things to look for. If you're ever like in the bins or if you're ever in the thrift and you're not finding a ton of like special pieces, I always like to, you know, I always kind of look for like embellishment and textures and great fabrics first. If you're having a day that is like, you know, not that great while you're out sourcing, start to take really close look at like the basics that you see there. Because listen, as much as we all love those super special pieces, if they're not available, you're already out sourcing, you gotta make the most of your day. High quality basics are a great backup plan. Though truth be told, anytime I see a nice black turtleneck, I'm probably gonna pick that up. Even if it's a day where I'm finding a lot of great like special pieces and bolos. I believe this is vintage from the 90s too, and it was in great shape. Anytime I find like merino wool or cashmere, and it's clearly a little bit older, I mean, it is a miracle when I find these things without moth holes. Oh, I was in the bins just this weekend, and I found this gorgeous frame cashmere sweater that had a slice in it. That was not a moth hole. It was like somebody somehow cut that with a knife. It was heartbreaking, heartbreaking. So I had this listed for just under 1 month, and I had it listed for $42. And I got an offer for $30, which I did accept with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought me to a profit of $25.40. I hope she loves it. Again, just a great staple piece, good quality yarns from a great store. That'll be in her closet forever, as long as she has cedar in there, guys. Put cedar in your closets if you like wool. All right, next up is this gorgeous dress from Babaton. This is an Aritzia brand. It's this super classic crepe short sleeve sheath dress. total closet staple. If you're somebody that has to dress like business professional, this is something that like everybody needs to have in their closet. So this I actually had for quite a while. And I think that the reason that it took so long is mostly because it was a size 0. It's very, very tough size to sell. But this was probably a good $150, $160 at Aritzia. It's no joke expensive. Some of my favorite shirts, and you've seen them a million times if you watch me at all. Those utility style shirts that I wear, they're all Babaton. And I have them in like twill, I have them in linen, I have them in short sleeve. I am so somebody when I find something that I love, I buy it in multiple colors. And I have no shame about that. Let me know, do you buy things that you love in multiple colors? And to follow up that question, if you buy them in multiple colors, do you find yourself wearing all the colors, or do you find yourself really only reaching for 1 or 2? Let me know, I'm interested. I feel like the world is split on that kind of question. I'm generally pretty good about wearing all the colors, but I think that I might be an anomaly in that. So anyway, I had this listed for just about a year. It's coming up on a year in a couple weeks. So I've had it for a while, but again, a size 0 on even on like an ultra highly sought after bolo can sometimes take a year to sell, and that's just the nature of the beast. So I had it listed at $42, again, for just almost a year, and I got an offer for $35, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost, this brought me to a profit of $27.63. This is something, again, that will just be in her closet for a long time. Next up, I was so excited when I found this because I feel like I never find this brand. This is from Boden. And it is this darling ruffle sleeve, midi length eyelet dress. So, so cute. And I just air dried it, so it's a little bit stiff, so that'll soften up as she wears it. But it's funny, like I never find Boden, and I wish I found more of it because I mean, first of all, I think that the quality on Boden pieces is like unbelievable. They're not a cheap brand, but I think the quality that you get for the price you pay is really, really nice. And this, it's funny, this is a petite size. I want to say this is, yeah, an 8 petite US. And it did not feel super short. Maybe it was something to do with the proportions more so, but anytime I have something like that, I always make sure that I put a length measurement in the listing. I really try to I'm trying to be better about putting measurements already in every listing, especially for women's things that are like rigid without stretch. Especially for like across the bust, because I know that that's where a lot of people like struggle. But for sure, something like this, like I wasn't sure if this was actually like a real petite length, you know? If you're somebody who's like 4'11", this is gonna be nearly a maxi. So anyway, I had this listed at $38 and I had it listed only for 1 week. I'm not surprised, like anytime I have a Boden piece like this, it moves really quickly for me. Like I don't think I've ever had a Boden dress take more than like a week or 2 to sell. Shirts, pants, they've taken a little bit longer, but dresses in particular, they just move so quick for me. So had it listed for $38, got an offer for $30.40, which I did accept with a $2 cost at the bins. This brought me to a profit of $24.64. And I hope she absolutely loves it. That dress is so darling and so perfect for summer events and bridal things, if that is the era of her life that she's in. Next up is this adorable little dress from Guess. This is for sure Y2K. It's 100% silk, little mini dress, and it's got like leather ties. And I think that this is actually real leather. This just, I mean, like I could 100% see this at the MTV Shore House in the year 2000. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me know if you remember the MTV spring break, because fun fact, I didn't go during an MTV spring break, but I actually did spring break at a hotel where they did MTV spring break like the year before. Not my proudest moment, but you know what? We had a lot of fun. Let me know if anybody else ever did that, or let me know where you guys went for spring break, if you traveled for spring break. I remember we were so broke that we brought things to make quesadillas, and we made quesadillas, like we sanitized the coffee hot plate and we made quesadillas on the hot plate. Again, not my proudest moment. You know, Guess is one of those brands that I really don't pick up a lot of. I see a lot of it at the bins. I do keep my eyes out for like Y2K Guess things though. They're a pretty big brand back in the day. You know, this is silk, so it was probably pretty expensive. So I had this listed for just about 1 month, and I had it listed for $32 and I got an offer for $27, which I did accept. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought me to a profit of $20.60. I hope she loves it. I love finding these little gems from like my heyday. You know, it's just always like a nice slice of nostalgia. Again, not the proudest nostalgia, but nostalgia nonetheless. All right, next up, we've got this adorable top from Aster the Label. This is one of those brands, it's a house brand for Nordstrom, and I used to pick them up a lot more than I do now. I don't see a ton of it, but they just don't sell as fast as they used to, but I just thought that this top was so stinking cute. Again, I'm able to source from the bins, you know, so I can pick up these kind of pieces that I know I'm not gonna get quite the profit on that I would, you know, a more expensive piece. But again, this was just too cute. I have a couple tops like this from Aster that have really been sitting. So hopefully they start to pop off. Now that spring is coming, they're very like springy kind of girly pieces with these little like peplum and ruffle silhouettes. But let me know, do you pick up Aster? Again, I used to pick it up quite a bit more than I do now. Now it's really, really rare, and it's usually only gonna be like a style pickup for me, and only if I'm sourcing it at the bins. Like, it's nothing that I would ever pay, you know, $5.99 or $6.99 for. But let me know if you pick it up. I know some people do quite well with this kind of stuff. Either way, I had this listed for about 6 or 7 months, and I had it listed for $28, and I got an offer for $24, which is actually a little bit more than I thought I was gonna get on this, especially after, you know, having it for as long as I did. But with a $1 cost of the bins, it brought me to a profit of $20.43, which I'm super happy with for this. And I hope she loves it. I mean, it is such a cute little shirt. Next up, this is a little polo from Mathew. I'll pick these guys up anytime I see them. These are so expensive retail. So the Mathew polo shirts go, I wanna say it's either $89 or $98. I think it's $89, but still so expensive. They're a golf brand. These are tech polos, and they do sell very well for me. I'm generally gonna get between $15 and $20 on these, just in case you are outsourcing, you know, mind your costs on them. Now the pants, I'd feel a lot more comfortable paying up for. I've definitely sold Mathew pants in the $50 range, shorts in like the $30 range, but the tops, again, you're gonna be between, depending on size and color and all that kind of stuff, you're gonna be somewhere between 15 and 25. And naturally, they will sell better in golf season. And we are coming right into that season, fast and furious. As always, a reminder, anytime I talk about golf things, I will urge you to check the sleeves, check the chest for any like golf club embroidery. Unless it's a very famous golf club, or unless it's a really famous like tournament, like Masters or Pebble Beach or Torrey Pines, whatever. There is a golf club or a country club embroidered logo on a shirt like this. I'd leave it behind even if you're getting it for like $1, unless you want it for yourself because you golf and these are $90 retail. Having some kind of custom embroidery, unless it's like something famous that's in demand, is going to diminish the value of the shirt. And when you're dealing with like something that's gonna sell for $15, there's just not that much like meat on the bone to drop. So again, unless you're buying it for yourself, which by all means do, because they are expensive and still very nice. If you're buying it for resale, I would probably hold off if there's an embroidery, unless it's Pebble Beach. So anyway, I had this listed for $28, and this one I had for about 7 months. It's a little bit more of a polarizing style. It's yellow, it's got palm trees on it. I usually find a lot of them that have like stripes or they're just solid. This one was a little bit more like playful. Usually Mathew polos move for me in like a couple weeks. So 7 months is actually quite a long time for them. But I got an offer for $22 with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought me to a profit of $17.20. And I hope you love it. Again, these are so expensive retail, so I love picking them up anytime I can find them on the cheap. Next up is this adorable top from Maeve. And this is one that I had for a long time as well. I kind of rolled the dice on this. I think that this is a little bit of an older style from Maeve, and it's a smaller size. It's a size 6, but I thought it was really cute. And to be totally honest, I did have a lot of interest in this over the year. Lots of questions about it. It's funny, I was at the mall not too long ago and I popped into Anthropologie. And I find a lot of Anthropologie while I'm out at the bins, and it always, like, every time I go in there, I am always floored at their prices. I was looking at this cute shirt, green and white stripe. I want to say it was like $148. So expensive. So expensive. I do always love kind of walking around in there though. I always get very inspired in that store. The way they curate things is really just very beautiful. And I do love their housewares, and I do love their clearance section. Your girl does love a bargain. Imagine that. So anyway, I had this one listed for about a year. Again, this sat around for a long time, and I haven't picked up anything like this since, because this sat around for a long time. So I was excited to get this moving. And I had it listed for $32, and I got an offer for $27, which I did accept. And with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought me to a profit of $23.80. Again, happy to be getting this moving. It is really, really pretty though. And again, it's right about that time where stuff like this is gonna start really flying out of your closet. So make sure you have all your spring and summer stuff listed, or at least photographed so you can get it listed soon. Next up, this was an interesting one. This is a swimsuit from Tyr, T-Y-R. And the reason I picked this up is because it had a zipper in the back. I wasn't really familiar with what it was. So it had a zipper in the back, and I'm always like kind of keyed into surf suits. They do quite well for me. And this, as it turns out, is a water polo suit. So who knew? Water polo was not a thing where I grew up. It is apparently a very big thing here in California. Let me know, like, did you guys have a water polo team at your high school? It is just a sport I know nothing about. But Tyr, I know, is a good brand. I do know a bit about swimming. Swimming was very, very big where I came from. I was never very good at it. Asthmatic, I could never regulate my breath quite enough, but most of my friends were big into swimming, so I knew a bit about at least the brands. And these get expensive, like these kind of competition swimsuits, they're, you know, they're $100. They're no joke, they're pricey. So I had this listed for about 6 months. I had no idea, like again, I took a chance on it, so we learned something here. Not sure if it's the kind of thing that I would pick up again. I also haven't seen anything like this ever since, but I had it listed for $26 and I got an offer for $20, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought me to a profit of $15 even. Happy to be moving it on, and you know, again, I know how expensive they are retail, and it's in great shape, so I hope she loves it and gets some good use out of it. Next up is this beautiful little dress. This is from 12th Tribe, which I think is like a, I guess like a boutique brand, but they have their own boutique. I don't know if you're seeing the sparkle in this, but there's little tiny sequins in this. And it's knit pretty sheer and it's open back. It's a little mini length. This is like perfect if it's like your bridal season of life and you're doing the whole like bachelorette trip thing. Maybe you're going down to the islands for a long weekend, or you're doing like a destination wedding. This is a perfect little dress to kind of have for one of the, you know, bridal events. And I've picked up 1 or 2 things from 12th Tribe before, and they've sold pretty well for me. So it's definitely a brand I keep my eyes out for. I haven't found much of it, but when I found it, it's all really kind of cute stuff like this. And it has tended to move pretty quickly for me. Again, we are also in kind of wedding season, bachelorette season, so make sure if you've got little white dresses, you're labeling them as little white dresses, bachelorette, bridal, LWD also being used for a keyword. You wanna make sure those white and cream pieces are like getting into the eyes of brides who might be looking for, you know, a higher than normal amount of white clothing. So anyway, I had this listed for just 4 days and I had it listed at $42. And I got an offer for $35, which I gladly accepted. And with the $2 cost of the bins, this brought me to a profit of $30.60. I hope she loves it. This dress is so stinking cute, and it's definitely gonna be a conversation starter when she shows up in this. And finally, oh my God, I love this dress. So this is vintage Tadashi, that's Tadashi Shoji. This is from the 90s. And little like pro tip, if you ever find a dress like this is like bodycon, kind of slinky, it's got kind of a high neck, short sleeves. You wanna make sure you use the keyword revenge dress. This is kind of reminiscent of Princess Diana's famous revenge dress that she wore after her divorce. After being kind of like, you know, as a royal, you have to wear certain things. You can't be wearing like mini skirts or super tight dresses. And when she got divorced, she came out in this, you know, this super form-fitting black dress, famously known as her revenge dress, if you're not familiar with the story. Make sure if you have these kind of 90s vintage dresses that are like bodycon fit, you're using that keyword. This was just so pretty with those lace insets, and that's not like sequins, those are like rhinestones all along the lace. It's pretty fabulous. I like Tadashi pieces, I like vintage Tadashi pieces. Super expensive brand. And I think he skewed, at least back in the day, I think he skewed a little bit more mature in terms of his designs. But I think today they're being bought by like a younger demographic. But the quality on his pieces are gorgeous. And again, this probably retailed like $600 or $700. It's spendy, spendy, spendy designer. So anyway, I had this listed for about 8 months, not super surprised. It is, you know, a higher end piece. It is a vintage piece, which usually takes me a little bit longer, but true to form, I had it listed at $58 and it popped through as a full price sale. It's typically what I find with these vintage pieces. They take longer to sell, but when they sell, they tend to sell at a higher price, if not full price. Anyway, $1 cost of the bins on this, that brought me to a profit of $46.71. And I hope she absolutely loves it. This dress is so fabulous. But that is it, guys. That is the shipment for today. Thank you so much for hanging with me while I literally get my work done. I always have so much fun yakking with you guys and kind of nerding out. But guys, it is getting late, so I've got to get going. So I hope you guys had fun. If you did, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. Of course, if you ever have any kind of content that you want to see me make, don't ever hesitate to put it down in the comments. I'm always keeping my eyes out for that. But without further ado, guys, I want you to have the most beautiful weekend. Happy hunting, and I will see you all in